And thanks for joining us for another edition of Weekend Winners, proudly brought to you by One Equine for the equine athlete. And ID25 is now officially upon us. We've got through the Redcliffe big night last week, Redcliffe Gold Cup night. All the attention is now at Albion Park over the next couple of weeks, and night one of the series tomorrow night promises to be a great night. Star-studded program, 10 races, nice and early start time for race 1, 4:55, and then we're straight into the Inter-Dominion action. Races 2, 3, 4 and 5, they're all for the Inter-Dominion pacers and trotters. The big one, the Group 1 Rising Sun, comes up as race number 7. So we are going to be in the thick of the action pretty much from the get-go. So there's a lot to look forward to. Ryan Spice is about to join me, fresh off a big night from Redcliffe Gold Cup night last week. Ryan, this is going to be a great night tomorrow night.
Yeah, Chris, Inter-Dominion time. It's the Grand Circuit element I love most. I love the combative nature of the series. Can't wait.
Okay, Darren Clayton joins us as well. Darren, there's a lot to look forward to and there's a lot to pull apart with this meeting.
Yeah, absolutely. 5 heats of the Inter-Dominion, 3 for the pacers, 2 for the trotters, so really looking forward to that. And the winners of the last 2 trotting or pacing series are going around. Leap to Fame 2023, Don Hugo 2024. They're the 2 favourites who will come out on top.
And both are drawn the second line in their first round of heats. So it's important to point out just the 2 rounds of heats this year compared to the series last staged here in Brisbane 18 months ago. We had that traditional format, the 4 runs in the fortnight, 3 heats in the final. This year it's a little bit different, just the 2 rounds of heats. So points are going to be at a premium here. They've got to perform straight away, and that's got to continue through to next week, and hopefully they get enough to go through to the grand final.
Yeah, that's correct. And the other factor that comes into play is the bonus points. So there is bonus points for fastest last mile, fastest last half, fastest last quarter, all individual. So from the timing systems there, so bonus points up for grabs. It could be one horse picks up all the bonus points and wins and kicks clear. So there's a good carrot there with only two rounds of heat. So it's going to be vitally important to really nail down your points.
Okay, Ryan, I've got to ask about the Group 1 Rising Sun. There's been so much conjecture and drama, the final field selection, this flight that didn't eventually take off from Melbourne bound for Brisbane. There's been a lot of talking points right throughout the week.
Yeah, it's felt like a Miracle Mile-esque drama scene, but I think we've got to a point now where everything's settled and we're ready to go, and we've got a worthy favourite.
Okay, the other race that I wanted to ask you about off the bat here is the Wayne Wilson Memorial Paleface Adios. This is the final lead up for next week's feature, the big Proto Star. Do you think we're going to see the winner of the Proto Star starting Saturday night?
I'm going to say no.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm a no on that.
All right. Darren, you got a thought on that?
I'm going to say yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That is going to be an interesting race. That comes up as race number 9 on Saturday night. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be back, race by race analysis of all of these Inter-Dominion heats plus the Group 1 Rising Sun.
Well, the 2025 Inter-Dominion Series is about to kick off, and with 3 years of the series to be hosted here at Albion Park, it has faced a little bit of a format change from traditional years. This year we'll see just the 2 heats held before the final. We'll also see a 4-year-old win the Rising Sun. They will gain a golden ticket into the Inter-Dominion final. Should they wish to take that option, they will need to go around in the Kevin Thomas 4-year-old, which will be the second night of the carnival. With those 2 heats, it means that point scoring will be highly contested, and our points breakdown will come down to a fact of 12 starters. Our first placing will get 16 points, all the way down to 1 point to last. Points shall be awarded to each horse starting and finishing in the qualifying heat in accordance with the table that you can see there on the screen. In terms of timing, there is also a bonus system set up, so horses can potentially earn more points through the series depending on their timing performance. Now, bonus points will be available. 2 bonus points are awarded to a horse that records the fastest individual last 800 metre section. There's 1 bonus point for the horse recording the fastest individual last quarter, and 1 for the horse that records the fastest individual last mile. That will see a total of 4 bonus points on top of those points already awarded for finishing positions available in each heat. You can see it there on the screen, a bit of a rundown of how that works. Now, all data is provided thanks to Triple S Data. They are our GPS timing trackers that are in the saddle cloths of every horse. We'll have a printout available. That will be available not long after the conclusion of each race. We'll be able to get that data in. We will then accrue those bonus points onto the tally of each horse throughout the series. So each heat that will happen, bonus points accorded, and then come night 2 of the carnival, we'll have our final 12 horses qualifying for the paces and trotters going in with their points through to the big $1 million pacing final, $500,000 trotting final on July 19. So that's a quick rundown of the breakdown of the series and how it's been rejigged for 2025. Really looking forward to seeing all the horses in action here at Albion Park over the next 3 weeks.
Race number 2, this is Heat 1 of the Pacing Series on Saturday night, and for mine this looks the most open of the 3 heats. We've got Don Hugo, a clear favourite in Heat 2, and Leap to Fame, the series favourite, a dominant favourite despite that awkward draw in Heat number 3. Ryan, what was your first thoughts when laying eyes on this opening heat?
I thought it was too hard to sort out.
Yeah.
I have no idea how the map settles. Probably the one certainty is that Rakiro Rebel will cross the stablemate Better Eclipse. That's a given. What happens after that? Who's first to Rakiro Rebel? I'm not sure. So yeah, this is the hardest race without a doubt to sort out on paper, I believe.
Okay, so we're going to throw it straight to you now, Darren. You get the handball here. Put this puzzle into play. So how do you map this race? Because it looks so even.
Yeah, it does. It's really open, and I think, like Ryan said, I think Rakiro Rebel is certainly first to the fence. From there, I think Always Smoking, he should appreciate a return to mobile conditions. His past few have all been from behind the tape, so we know he's a quick beginner. Not necessarily sort of push button quick, but driven hard and aggressively to push forward. So I think he gets there. That probably leaves the 2 stablemates, Sure Thing Captain, Speak the Truth, exposed early. One of them has to park up. I thought it'd be Speak the Truth, and that would give 1-1 cover to Sure Thing Captain. How they run thereafter will catch a wave. He probably has to lead the 3 wide train at some point, or try to flush some cover. Not really sure where it comes from there. Beach Ball probably pushes through on the back of Rakiro Rebel. Could we entertain a position where if Rakiro Rebel's there and Luke is able to really push hard on the back of Rakiro Rebel and end up somewhere a little bit more handy than sort of one out, 2 back? That's how I sort of looked at it, but I think Always Smoking touches down in front.
Okay, this is a difficult heat. Ryan, the driving engagements, were there any surprises here? Josh Gallagher driving Better Eclipse, James Herbertson driving Rakiro Rebel, Adam Sanderson driving Sure Thing Captain, Cam Hart gets the drive on Speak the Truth, Grant Dixon driving Captain Hammerhead, Nielsen retains the drive on Free Thinker, Robbie Morris driving Tango Tara. Were there any surprises there?
Yeah, probably Josh Gallagher onto Better Eclipse. I don't think they've been paired together before. And I actually wasn't sure which way Adam Sanderson would go, whether he would choose Sure Thing Captain or over Speak the Truth and vice versa. We saw Speak the Truth bounce back with a 52, really big staying performance last week, a great preparation for the series. But also too, we've seen Sure Thing Captain, his trial win the other day, gee whiz, they don't go much better than that.
Yeah.
For me, I think here, if Sure Thing Captain is to win this race, I think he will have to find the pegs. I wouldn't be surprised if the launch codes weren't entered and they have a real red-hot dip at trying to get over.
Okay, so just looking at that speed map that Darren put together, Darren had him sitting 1-1. Yep. You'd be happy with that though, wouldn't you?
Oh, the 1-1 for me is a bit of a poison chalice these days. Yeah. It's a position I try to avoid trying to find runners in. 3 wide line often comes so early, and then you are looking for luck from there. So I think there's multiple winning hopes here. It's very, very hard to point one out. But if Sure Thing Captain was to get over, I think he's probably the leading pick.
Okay. Did any of the driving engagements surprise you?
Yeah, I think the Tango Tara one, Robbie Morris going on there. That's an interesting one. I thought, even though Matt Nelson drove Free Thinker to win the Redcliffe Cup last week, perhaps they're just looking longer term into the series just to keep him on that horse. That could potentially be a play there. But yeah, other than that, I think the others sort of fell into place. I think Cam Hart getting Speak the Truth drive is a good get for him because he was super last week.
Yeah, he was super impressive, no question about it. You can lead us off here. How do you break this heat down? Who are you tipping to win Heat 1?
I'm going with the harness racing Enigma from Victoria. That is Catch a Wave. His best is brilliant. He seems to be a horse that thrives and fires when he leaves home. He trialled superbly twice and then came out on race day and underperformed last start. But if he bounced back right to his best, there's absolutely no reason why he couldn't run home over the top of them. Sure Thing captain for second for me. If he was able to clear them and find the fence and then maybe even release the right runner, I think he'd be the horse to beat. Rakiro Rebel, she's a really honest mare. She will, I think, find the fence and run top 4. And Speak the Truth, he bounced right back. But does he get left parked here and that makes it harder? Maybe, most likely. So that's how I see it.
I didn't see you tipping Catch Away from that draw in this heat. That's a real surprise for me. I understand why, as you said, he's the best horse. He's banked $2.2 million, but I just did not see that coming.
I've tried a bit of reverse psychology here, Chris. He was terrible last start. I'm hoping for perfection this time.
Okay. Well, that just shows how open this heat is because I'm tipping one that Ryan hasn't put in his tips. I'm tipping Beach Ball. He's had the 2 runs, this former Kiwi, on Aussie soil. First up, he chased home Don Hugo, defending Inter Dominion champ, and then in the Lucky Creed, last time out, he chased home Leap to Fame, who is the series favourite. So surely that's the right type of form going into this race. He's got a nice trailing draw. There looks like there's going to be good pressure. Luke McCarthy drives. I think he's a great gamble in this first heat, number 9, Beach Ball. His last win, yes, it was some time ago, but he beat a horse called Self Assured. So I think he's got the right type of credentials to take this heat. Sure Thing captain. I think he's probably the safest option in this heat if you're looking for a horse that is going to be very hard to beat. He comes up with a good draw, and as Ryan said, that trial was a ripper last time out. So he's ready to go. Speak the Truth, awesome winning last time out, and always smoking. I think he can improve with his good draw back to the mobile start conditions. So tough heat, 9, 4, 5, 3. Darren, which way did you go?
Well, I've got the same 4 picks as you, Chris, just in a little bit of a different order. I think Sure Thing captain, he comes into this series off the back of that trial that Ryan referenced. It was a super trial. Now, the other thing that I like about probably this horse, I'm not sure how deep he goes into the series. I think this is his opportunity to really step up, and with that in mind, I think he does. Always smoking. I thought his run at Redcliffe was really good. He set the tempo, he looped them early to get in front, set up the tempo that set a track record. He just got a little bit wayward down the back on that on the point of the turn, back to Albion Park, back to mobile conditions. Just with those mapping favours, I think he's in front, so I've got him there. Speak the Truth, super last week, and throw in Beach Ball. Like I said, if he follows back through on the back of Rakiro Rebel, he's going to be in a great spot.
Look at you go, tipping Queensland 1, 2, 3 in that first heat. And as a proud New South Welshman too.
And wearing a blue jacket.
Yeah, there you go. I'll tell you what, this, Ryan, if Catch a Wave does win this first heat, I think this is great for the series because, as we know, Don Hugo, Leap to Fame, many have got it pegged as a race into this series. If he can come out and win this first heat from that barrier draw, I think he puts his hand right up there to say it's not just a 2-horse race because that will take some sort of doing to win from that draw on Saturday night.
Yeah, and I think in some ways the series kind of needs another big gun to stand up. And with the format this year being 2 heats into the final, you know, that's probably perfect for a Catch a Wave type. And we've seen him go and race so well in Western Australia over the last couple of years as well. So his staying credentials are actually there. No one really just has him pegged as a miler anymore. Yeah. So if he could come out and blow him away, it'd be great for the series.
Yep, absolutely. Well, that's the first heat. That is race number 2. Start time for that race is 5:35. Time now to look at heat number 2, which is race 3 on the program, 6:05 start time, and this features the reigning Inter Dominion champion Don Hugo. He's got to overcome a second row draw, drawn gate 10, 2,138 metres. Ryan, Don Hugo, when you saw this heat, you saw him off the second row. What were What was your first line of thinking?
I thought it looked a perfect setup for him, actually, Chris. He is clear second pick for the series. He's been primed to the minute for it. His last couple of starts at Menangle have been absolutely spot on. I think the second row draw is perfect. They can kind of go crazy, find their positions. If they overdo it, he'll just storm over the top of them. If they drop anchor, he'll get round.
Okay. When you look at this heat compared to the other two, is this probably the heat that lacks the most depth?
I think they're pretty even.
Yeah.
And we probably expected that Don Hugo and Leap to Fame would find obviously separate heats with the way the rankings were. There had to be one heat that didn't have one of the big boys, so this is how it's fallen. I think there's plenty of firepower here off the front row, and with two heats, you can't afford to be going back. I think the horses drawn wide have to get on their bike and try and get forward first.
All right, well, Darren, here we go again. How do you map this race early? Because if there is plenty of firepower there off the front row, there's going to be plenty of early pressure. Yeah,
it shapes that way. 2100, they get a bit longer run into that first turn, does potentially favour some of the outside types. I think we talk about launch codes. Pete McMullen will have that dialed into that UFO bike and ready to launch. So I think Black Sedance will make a statement here early on to get to the pegs. He was really good last week over the 2100, run second to speak the truth, circled them on that occasion. He's much better in front. I think he gets across. I think Jim RT's got enough early speed to just burrow through and hold his spot. I think Ricky Thurlow will be quite happy to get a trail on Black Sedance. That would put Nyack 3 back the fence. Like Ryan said, I think Luke McCarthy can just sum this up. They go hard, he just sits back and smokes the pipe, or they sort of drop anchor, slow up, around he comes and sits parked and then pulls away. Either way, Don Hugo is obviously the one they have to beat. So Black Sedance in front for me, and some of those others just slotting into their spots. I think Captain's Knock is probably a bit of the fly in the ointment in the map. If they really want to, I think he could probably get across from gate 7. That wide gate really hum across early and get there, but whether they want to, whether he's up to that at this point of his campaign, yes, you need maximum points, but throwing all your eggs in one basket at the start of the first heat, is that the play? I don't know. We'll see.
Okay, well, I think we're all going to agree that Don Hugo's the horse to beat. The one that I wanted to ask you about was Jim RT. You go back 7 months ago, his form here in Queensland was outstanding. He was running a ripper race after ripper race. They took him down to Sydney. He qualified for the grand final. Just since that grand final, has his form been a little up and down? And now that he's got barrier 1 here in this opening round heat, is this really make or break? Does this determine where he's at now, Jim RT?
He's been very good in some runs this prep, and then he's been quite plain at others. And my little theory is that when they ask to use him early, that's when it's sort of paid a price for it at the back end of the races. And for me here, I think there's oodles of speed. George Street can fly the arm. A road is as quick as all of them, I think, early. CR crossed them the other week when running second to Leap to Fame, and we know Captain's Knock is a bit of a speed demon as well. So for me, for him to hold his spot and then release, he's going to have done a lot of work.
Okay. You can go first here with selections. Don Hugo on top, so he's at a short quote. We're looking at playing the multis here to get a decent quid out of this race. What do we mark around Don Hugo?
Yeah, for me, I've got Don Hugo on top. And then a horse that I've got a lot of time for. He has been the second stringer to Larry, but Tim's a trooper. He's a real solid citizen. And my theory here is that they do overdo it, run a really slick 35 lead time. So I think a few can get into it from the back. With the right card forward, I think Tim's can run a drum. Nyack, he's gone really well for James Rattray. His draw is a little sticky, but if he sees the gaps at the right time, I can't see him miss the top 4. And Black Sedance, well, he bounced right back to form, but we know his racing style. It's just handlebars down.
Okay, so you're going 10, 12, 8 and 5. Certainly some value there with Tim's a trooper in the placings there. Darren, how did you see Heat 2?
Yeah, well, obviously Don on top. Backing my map, I think Jim RT gets the right trip, and Nyack would be 3 fence. So I think fence is a great place to play this race. So 10, 1, 8 and 5 for mine. If they're able to control that front end speed with Black Sedance and not overdo it, yeah, the fence will be the place to be.
Okay, I'm going 10 as well, Don Hugo. I think this is a really important test for Jim RT on Saturday night, given that he's got barrier 1. So it'll be interesting to see how he shapes up here. Nyack, you can't knock his recent form. It reads very well, but potentially a little sticky, that gate. And Captain's Knock, he's the mystery runner. If he's at his best, he can certainly challenge Don Hugo. There's no doubt about it, but I'm just not sure where he's at, and that's a tough gate as well. 10, 1, 8 and 7. That is heat number 2. 6:05 is start time. Don Hugo is the clear odds-on favourite. Heat 3 for the Pacers on Saturday night features the champ, Leap to Fame, and he's got to overcome a really tricky draw here inside of the second row. The market frame is taking no risks, though. He is at a very short quote, and rightly so. He is the horse to beat throughout the series, the clear odds-on favourite. So Ryan, Leap to Fame, gate 8. What was your initial reaction to that draw?
Oh, I put a little smirk on my dial, but I thought perhaps maybe we'll just get a better price for the multis.
Do you think we will get a better price?
Well, no, not now. We've already seen a little trim up, and we know that with this horse, he only heads one way in the market, so he'll start under $1.10, that's for sure.
Okay, did you have a little smirk on your face when you saw inside of the second row, capacity field, 2100?
Yeah, I think it just opens a little bit more intrigue into the race, that's for sure. We know how good he is, we know, you know, he's the favourite for this series, but with only the 2 heats now, it certainly makes it, it's not do or die, but it certainly makes it interesting.
Okay, last time he tasted defeat here at Albion Park in any sort of race was at the hands of Future Assured in that Be Good Johnny sprint. That was back in November of 2023. Now, I've done some stats. You'll be proud of me here, Darren. You love a good stat. He's had 2 defeats at Albion Park, 2,138 metres. The first one came in the Rising Sun as a 3-year-old, where he chased home Ladies in Red and Better Eclipse. The second defeat was the following week in the Southeast Derby. He played the runners-up role behind Can't Find a Better Man. Now, if my calculations are correct, 13 Albion Park wins since at 2,138 metres. This is going to be a good challenge from this barrier draw. Are you expecting Grant to sort of just pull back and sort of come around the entire field? Does he drive for luck? How do you think he's going to attack this early?
I don't know. You just put him up for 14. That's, I think, how we can see it. Whether he goes back, whether he hopes for a bit of luck and gets a split, I don't know. I think he wins regardless. I think to take luck out of it, he probably just, you know, I wouldn't be surprised if he's half a length off the gate and just cops a whack of a fine for being out of position. And you know, he's got that opportunity where you put luck in the equation, you can then perhaps find bad luck and not actually find good luck. So take that out of consideration, ease back, come around them and just show what he's got.
What was your first reaction on how Grant is going to drive this race? Is he just pulling back at the start, circling, just driving like he's a Mack truck?
Yeah, just, you know, half a length back at the start, straight off into the running line, get going.
All right. So mapping it, does it make it easier knowing that he's just going to be on the move pretty quickly?
Yeah, I don't know whether he has to be even pretty quickly, whether he just content to sit 3 wide the last 1,000 scenario. I'm not really too sure there. He might just go into attack mode and, you know, put his name down as this is my house, and I think everyone already knows it's his house, but whether he demonstrates it this week or not, I thought Pin Seeker probably has the early speed to get across. Mossdale Terry would be content to take a trail in this sort of grade. He's up a bit now, especially under mobile conditions. I thought then a horse like Classy Washington probably gets exposed early. I looked at this race from a point of view of, if Leap to Fame is going back, does that give Whisper a Secret the opportunity to really chance his arm and get forward and stay ahead of him? If that were to happen, well then we'd see Whisper a Secret get around, perhaps chair up, perhaps even Pinseeker might be content to let him go if the pressure's there. So I sort of looked at it that way, and that would leave Leap to Fame coming 3 wide at some point. The rest probably just try to find a spot without burning any gas so that they can at least run on and get some points.
Okay. Ryan, it would be a rare sight to see Leap to Fame 3 wide solo in a race here at Albion Park, but maybe we see that tomorrow night because of the barrier draw. How did you sort of see that race? Is Pinseeker the key horse here? Because we're not sure how good he is. He looked super winning in Sydney, but that was Sydney and it's vastly inferior to what he's opposed to here tomorrow night. He was good in that one start against Leap to Fame in that Cambridge feature. So he sort of holds the key to this race. Like, who does he let go? How does he attack it? Does he want to be bold here? So he's a key runner.
Yeah, and he's not a horse from my research that he's push button off the arm early either. So barrier 3 is a little sticky. He's got some speed under him and definitely some speed to his outside. So I think if Johnny Cox isn't careful, he could be left 3 deep for a bit of an extended period. And then we see those back row runners sort of wanting to get forward and also to Max Delight because he's not going back. So I wouldn't be surprised if we just see like an endless train. But before the bell, I think Larry will just flex and ground will be in front.
All right. With Pinseeker as well. In that race, that $100,000 feature at Addington, I think it was 2 starts ago for him, he got very keen and they were mindful going to Sydney. They didn't want a repetition of what they got there at Addington. So are they mindful of that again tomorrow night? Like, it's a good opportunity. They've got to be semi-aggressive, but they can't overdo it because he can over-race.
Yeah, we definitely saw that. And while on face value, the Menangle start looked very impressive, dropping a 25.6 last quarter. It was off down the back. I think they only went 30. So, you know, I think to earn your stripes in this grade in Australia, you've got to come here and do it. So I don't think you'll be given any favours.
He's an interesting horse in this heat, isn't he, Pinseeker?
Yeah, he certainly is. And I guess we can look later in the card to reference his form that Better Than Cash actually beat him home in a race, in a big race over in New Zealand. So, yeah, it's interesting. He does hold the key to this race because if he doesn't get out, like Ryan said, and he just takes a stride or two, well, there's plenty of horses there that'll look to exploit that opportunity because if we're all looking at Leap to Fame being the top point scorer out of this heat, points are so valuable. You need to be cashing in where you can.
2 really fast beginners here. Where you bin bop and I break the line. If they want to go hard early, they can clear these to their inside, can't they?
Where you bin bopping, yes. I break the line. I don't think so from the draw, just because he's drawn to the outside. Classy Washington, when they want to light him up, he can get out. Good too. Same with Mosdale Terry. He probably can hold them all if Shane stokes him right up. And I know Robbie Morris will have one plan. So no one's going to give an inch here, so yep, I can see them going pretty quick. That first 600, I think that lead time will be 35 something.
Okay. Which way are you going around the multiples here? Leap to Fame on top. How do we attack this race with the multiples?
Yeah, I'm throwing Pete Said So in. I think if he can just flop into a position, I don't think he's not going to cross Mosdale Terry. I wouldn't have thought. And if they just keep coming, like sort of Ryan suggested, I think he still ends up in a handy spot. I thought his Redcliffe Cup run was really good. He just had no luck whatsoever and was flashing home. So throwing him in. Whisperer's Secret, like I said, he's Queensland's second best horse. If things go right for him, he's certainly in it. And we'll throw in Pinseeker as 4. So 2, 8, 2, 11, 3.
Ryan?
Leap to Fame on top. The champ. He'll ease, get round him and do the business again. I want to forgive Whisperer's Secret for his last start effort. It was out of the blue, the performance he delivered. I'm not sure what happened over the back in that shuffle up, but I really, if his place drifts, I will definitely be playing there because I do have him pegged as probably currently the second best horse in the state. Pinseeker, I don't know what to expect here. I actually don't know how good or bad he is, so let's see what happens. If he finds the top, he'll probably pretty hard to miss top 3. And Max Delight, what a champ. Love him. But barrier 7 is no advantage.
Yeah. Leap to Fame on top for me. I'm going to put in Pinseeker as the horse to beat. It's a good test for him tomorrow night, but I'll respect him here. Max Delight, I've got to put him in. He's just so consistent, but the barrier draw really stings. And Mosdale Terry, the local, I'm expecting him to run a bold race there from the inside. So 8, 3, 7 and 1. That is heat number 3. That is race number 4. Start time for Leap to Fame tomorrow night is at 6:35. Heat 1 for the Trotters comes up as race number 5. Start time for this race 7:13. We've got The two track record holders going head-to-head in this first heat. London to a Brick was the former track record holder. The current track record holder is Oscar Bonavina. London to a Brick draws well, gate 3. Oscar Bonavina has gate number 9, second row draw. This is going to be a very interesting heat. Gus, he's also in this heat, but he's got the ODM tag against his name, so he'll start on the outside of the second row. Initial thoughts on this one, Ryan?
Initial thoughts for me here was that I had a real difficulty separating the top 3 in the market.
Okay.
I have a real soft spot for the little fella down the bottom, Gus. I love his ability. London to a Brick draws perfectly. I think you'll find top eventually. And Oscar Bonavina, well, enough said, he's such a great horse.
Okay. Mapping this race, Darren, this wouldn't have been an easy challenge, but just firstly, the 3 favourites that Ryan just mentioned, London to a Brick, Oscar Bonavina and Gus, did you find it hard to split that trio?
Probably Gus. I just had him on a little bit of a third line, just outside the other 2. He's a bit like Catch a Wave. He's enigmatic. He can certainly win it. He can certainly win this series, but you know, he can just throw in those odd runs where things don't go right, or he can gallop. So I do love the horse, but yeah, he can be a hard follow at times, and for that reason, I think the other 2 just have the edge. And I think at a flip of the coin, well then I'm calling Oscar as coming up.
Okay, simple question for both with Oscar Bonavina. One word answer here. Were you disappointed with Oscar Bonavina last start?
No.
Ryan?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Map this race for us, Darren. How did you sort of see it early? Who's in front with a lap left to run here?
Well, I think the 1 and the 2 don't get out overly quick. London to a Brick has gate speed, but again, maybe just takes a few strides to get going, and they probably don't want to, you know, go chips in just to get across. They'd be quite content knowing his ability that they can just amble across. So I thought Hammerson, he's a really quick beginner off the mobile, and I thought Adam Richardson on, he might just have a dip here, and if he gets across, well then he can just hand straight up to London to a Brick when he comes. So a bit of speed out wide as well. Sir Fahrenheit can certainly get out. Bit hard gauging where he is at in his campaign. We haven't seen a lot of him, and he is getting on in years. So Aldebaran, a crew or a crux, she has been really good for Chris Venozio. So, and sat parked recently. I think they could probably go forward and adopt similar sort of tactics, and that would leave Oscar in a nice spot in the running line.
Okay, Ryan, how did you sort of decide which way you were going to go in this first trotting heat?
I just let position and run kind of dictate my logic here. I thought in time London to a Brick does find his way to the top, and from there he can control tempo, and if he pinches a quarter, he's the hardest to beat.
Okay, so you're going his way?
Yeah, just not by much. As I said, I found it difficult to split them, but yeah, London to a Brick on top. He's been really good of late. Gus, he'll put it all together one day and he'll blow them away, and we'll be, you know, we won't be shocked. Oscar Bonavina, great horse. If he bounces back, he certainly can win, of course. And then I thought the 1 and 8 were hard to split after that, but Golden Sunset, she's done great things in Queensland.
Okay, Darren, your thoughts on Heat 1 for the Trotters?
Yeah, well, I come back to what I said before, a flip of the coin, and if looking at the odds as a flip of the coin, well, there's more value than in Oscar Bonavina, because he was about 260 at one point. So London to a Brick was in red figures, so I think he's good enough. It will come down to how much tempo in those middle stages, because if London to a Brick's allowed just roll in front, well then they probably don't get past him in the closing stages. Gus, well, yeah, like we've said, he's a great horse at his best. There's good Gus, there's bad Gus, depends which Gus shows up. And I thought that the mare will run a good race. 5.
Okay. All right, well, I'm going to go with 9 Oscar Bonavina, and I'm chips in on Oscar Bonavina. I'm super keen on this guy. Weather conditions have been kind over the last week or so. I think that augurs well for Oscar Bonavina. On face value, probably a shade disappointing last time out, but when you look at the sectional data, he was still really strong, ran the quickest last mile out of that race. But to your point, Ryan, at the bell, you probably were thinking he's $1.01 given the position that he had, and he couldn't pick up Zealous Spur. But I think he bounces back. He was awesome first up with that track record performance. So I think he's a really good bet here. I'm super keen on Oscar Bonavina. London to a brick. His record here at Albion Park speaks for itself. Good quality trotter. Garson, Parisian Artiste. He's probably likely to go back, I'd say. I'm not sure how they drive him, but he'll be finding the line strongly. I know he's yet to win this campaign, but his sectionals have been more than okay. So 9, 3, 12 and 6, they're my thoughts for Heat 1 of the Trotters. 7:13 start time, that's race number 5, and we look forward to seeing those Trotters step out. Heat 2 for the Trotters getting underway at 7:52, and this promises to be a really exciting heat here for the Trotters. Bet and Win, we've seen him here previously, 1 start, 1 victory. He's got gate 1, and then we've got RC Phoenix, who's also been here previously. He's got the other end of the spectrum. He's out in gate number 7. This is going to be an intriguing heat. Looking forward to this one. Ryan, Bet and Win RC Phoenix. Is there much between these two Trotters in your opinion?
No, nothing at all really on ability. Yeah, I have them level pegging, but clearly the barriers separate them here in this contest.
Okay, what were your first thoughts, Darren?
Yeah, I didn't really know how to take this field. I sort of had a few different looks at it. I think RC Phoenix is the best trotter in the field. I think he's got maybe a half length on Bet and Win, but gate 1's and gate 7, they're great levelers in each direction.
Okay, well, let's talk about these gates for both horses. Bet and Win gate 1, is there concern he doesn't have the speed to lead from this good draw?
Great concerns. I don't think he can lead. I think he gets crossed. Interesting to note in this field, because there are 2 scratchings now, the 2 emergencies, 13 and 14, come into the field where the scratchings were. So the first scratching was Harold Smith. His flight didn't take off, so the Best Bourbon comes in to gate 2. She's a gate speed mare. She can run the arm, and phenomenal. I can never say that. Number 14, he draws gate 4 when Masterly come out, so he's not a quick beginner. So that certainly mixes it up there in those centre gates. I thought the Best Bourbon could potentially take a shot here and get across Bet and Win. I know she is a good gate speed mare. That puts Bet and Win in a bit of strife. I don't know whether that's 100% whether that can happen. I think she can do it. If that happens, well then Not As Promised gets the front, and that puts him right in the picture because at his best he's really good. Got a great Albion Park record. His campaign just tapered a little bit off that New Zealand run. But at his best, he's up to it. RC Phoenix then probably sits parked, I thought. Harry Stamper can certainly get forward as well under that situation. He could have a look. If they hold on Not As Promised, if he was there, perhaps he can then release RC Phoenix to the chair. So that said, Bet and Win, I still think gets his chance to win the race. I'm just a little bit concerned on that, Matt.
Okay, Ryan, are you concerned with the speed from Bet and Win from gate 1?
Yes, yeah, absolutely. I don't think it's a foregone conclusion that he holds up. Can you take the kind of the 2s on that's offered at the moment? No, I think that's poison. But should he jump favourite? Yeah, most definitely. Not As Promised is the interesting runner here. You know, he's the local hope. We know he's got a really big engine. His form of the last 6 months, you know, he's let us down a fair bit, I think is fair to say. But we know he's best. He's a bit of a warrior and he can really do it tough. And if he was to find the front like Darren predicted, he'd give some cheek.
Yeah. Okay. So mapping this race, you think Bet and Win will be crossed. So putting it all together, RC Phoenix probably gets the advantage then.
Yeah, he would certainly, and especially if it, you know, they're able to slow it up. They don't go too hard, which, you know, you'd perhaps want to work that out, go to that advantage. So, yeah, it's interesting how it'll all play out.
Okay, who are you tipping, Ryan?
On top, I've gone with the well-drawn Kiwi hope in Bet and Win, but with no confidence, that's for sure. I've put Not As Promised in. He trialled super the other day against the Pacers in fast time. He's been a naughty boy of late, but if he can bring his best behaviour, I think he can run a race. RC Phoenix, I don't think they'll bust him up from gate 7 here. He'll work forward, sit parked, and clearly get his chance to win, but I think he'll progress beautifully through the series. Zealous Spur, probably the most consistent trotter going around, probably, if not in Queensland, in the nation, and one of the most improved. He can certainly run top 4, if not top 3.
Okay. Darren, you're with Bet and Win?
Yeah, regardless, if he does get buried away, it becomes quite concerning, but I do think he can still win this race. So 1, 7, 9 and 5 for me. I think Harry Stamper will certainly step up in this series, and Anthony Butt, no better man to have in a trotting Inter-Dominion series.
In particular here at Albion Park as well. He won the first one with Take a Moment back in 2001. Same numbers as you, Darren, slightly different order. I'm going 1, 7, 5, 9. I think this is an intriguing heat here. I think it's going to be very important to start. I'll be very interested to see how it all plays out, but I'm going 1, 7, 5 and 9. That is heat 2 for the Trotters. It's race number 6 on the program. Start time for that race getting underway at 7:52. The Group 1 feature on Saturday night is the Rising Sun. Amazing Dream, Ladies in Red. Then Leap to Fame last year, Whisper a Secret, beating Don Hugo. They've been the winners so far of the Rising Sun. And with those names I just read out, no 3-year-old has ever proven successful. In this edition, 2025, there's 5 3-year-olds going to the gate here on Saturday night. Ryan, as I said at the start of this show, there's been a lot said and written about the Rising Sun this week. An overview from your point of view with this race on Saturday night, the Group 1 Rising Sun.
Here on the eve of the race, I'm happy. Earlier in the week, I was scratching my head a little in frustration with how we had so much uncertainty around the race. We've seen the Emma Stewart horses come out now because they haven't been able to organise their transport. Going forward, I think it might jeopardise their future invites to this type of race in the future, so we'll see how that washes out. The Janitor, you and I both got a great opinion of this horse. We think he can do good things. Pete McMullen now driving. I think we're set for fingers crossed, for a really good performance from a really good horse.
Okay. Darren, your thoughts on the week that has been, and there's been plenty happening, so give me your take.
Yeah, well, it's been a bit like we've been air traffic controllers trying to sort things out here, but we failed in that regard. No flight, so Bay of Biscay, War Down Buddy are out. Jack's Ultimate Fury, you make a really good case that he probably should have been in the field to start with. So he does get his go now from barrier 9, 2 off the second line, Brad Hewitt to drive. Captain's Mistress probably should be in the field as well, you know. We've got plenty of talking points in this race. Let's hope on the track the talking points are a bit more positive than what the week we've had has been.
Captain's Mission should have been in?
Clearly, Chris. That's the howler for me.
Yeah, okay. What about driving engagements here? So Adam Sanderson, he's down. I think he was always down, but anyway, he's now officially down. Tom Galligan driving Jelly Row. Cameron Hart drives Major Hot now that Bay of Biscay is out. Pete McMullen is officially down to drive the Janitor. Trista Dixon, she's going to drive Fade Away, so Grant's driving Part the Greatness. And Robbie Morris picks up the drive on Charge Ahead, given I'm tipping what he did with this horse in Sydney probably 5 or 6 months ago now. So they're the driving engagements. Any real shocks there?
I suppose you could think that the way the Dixon runners have fallen, like we haven't really seen Grant come off fadeaways yet, so that was a small surprise, but not really. I mean, Path to Greatness, when he had this barrier in the previous race where he led and won, well, it makes kind of sense that he might try to optimise again. Yeah, initially earlier in the week when the Janitor was listed as Chantel Turpin as driver, yeah, I was fair to say I was quite shocked. I thought the best horse in the race deserved Pete McMullen, and that's what we've finally got, thankfully.
Okay, mapping this race, Darren, I don't think this is going to be easy because there's a lot of speed there drawn in close. So Part the Greatness led up in the Queensland Sun, took them all the way. Ribera, he's been able to lead in both of his starts. He was initially crossed in that first start run, but he led from gate 1 in the Derby last week at Redcliffe. Delhi Row is a brilliant gate speed horse, so I think there could be some early power here.
Yeah, to pinch a line from you, Chris, there could be some early pop. So $300,000 race, bonus for a 3-year-old winner, Inter-Dominion golden ticket for a 4-year-old winner. So there's a little bit more at stake as well in the background. So early on, we could get some really slick speed happening. And like you said, there's plenty of speed there that it could come from.
Okay. Which way did you end up going in this race, selection-wise?
No secret here, I think I've been Team Janitor from a long way out, so yeah, he's on top for me. Back to the map though, I think from how they settle down, I'm not 100% sure, but for me, Deliro has to be stamped urgent here, and he really has to test the 3-year-olds early. Can he get over? Team yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I think he can get over Deliro and cross. That throws a big spanner in the works for the 3-year-olds from there. Does Major Hot, can he get forward before the Janitor? Probably. Does he then have a look for the lead? Not sure. Who's in front of the bell, in your opinion?
Well, I'm not sure. I'm not sure Deliro gets across. And the other question I want to pose to both of you, so whoever wants to jump in first here, the Janitor. He looks unlimited, this horse, but gate 6, it could be a little sticky. So he's got to drive a good race, Pete McMullen. He can't power drive him and probably still put this field away, because I think the quality behind him is not all that far behind him. So he can't drive an ill-judged race. He's got to be spot on here with his tactics.
Yeah, well, I guess he can only blame himself, because he had an option of second line gates as well. So he did choose 6 at Monday's barrier draw. That said, I think he knows that he's got a pretty versatile horse. This guy sat parked in 50 and 2 and then charged home last start over the top of him when off a solid tempo. So there's going to be tempo. I guess it does then come down to judgment. When does he go? Does he go early? Does he wait and come with one run? So I think going back, he probably ends up a long way back.
All right. So you're tipping the Janitor. How are you sort of playing this race? Like, is there a way to play this race from a punting viewpoint?
I think he's the best on the card, the Janitor. So, yep, I'm happy to stick there. I think from how does the race pan out for him, I think he'll come out in relatively neutral at the start and just track forward with Major Hot and then settle in front of as many runners as possible. If he ends up breezing and controlling the tempo, I actually think that's a good outcome, even if Deliro can't get over and then release. So I think he'll be paid his due respects here.
Okay. Are you tipping the Janitor?
Yeah, I'm definitely tipping you. I'm not chips in like Ryan, but certainly thinks he wins the race. I've got a healthy respect for Ribeiro. I think he can be first to the pegs, and Adam Sanderson can then control his destiny as to who he lets go. Really taken with this guy. He's putting together a nice winning streak, and he took the scalp of Marketplace earlier in the season in New Zealand, and he's by far and away the best 3-year-old. Admittedly, he was first up on that occasion, Marketplace, and has won subsequent races, but Rubira's putting it together. I think path to greatness. I think fence will be a good spot to be. So 6, 3, 4 and 1 for me.
All right, Ryan, your numbers?
Yeah, Janitor on top for me. The one I'm most frightened of is Jack's Ultimate Fury. I just don't think we know how good this fella is. What he's done to date's been excellent. Burkakara, I think he can capitalise on a hot tempo and work home into the numbers. And for me, Hesitate's the best of the 3-year-olds.
Okay, I'm going to go with 9, Jack's Ultimate Fury. He's been very impressive, this horse. He's won 10 from 14. He's won 9 of his last 10. He was able to thump Hesitate in that Group 2 Gold Chalice at Bathurst back in March. Hasn't been beaten since. So I think everything's humming along nicely here, and he's got a perfect trailing draw behind Hesitate, and he's following Luke McCarthy. So I think he's going to be in a really good spot here, Jack's Ultimate Fury. The Janitor, great respect for him, but I'm just a little concerned with the draw here, gate 6. I think he's got to get it right, Pete McMullen. I don't think it's going to be clear-cut for him. Hesitate and Part the Greatness. I think the 3-year-olds can certainly get into the action here. So 9, 6, 2 and 1. That is the Rising Sun. It's race number 7, 8:32 start time for that feature. Really looking forward to it. Time now to find a good thing or two for this big card on Saturday night. 10 races, as I said, we start at 4:52. Let's have a look at Darren Clayton's dashboard here and see what he's put together for this Saturday night's program. The driver to follow.
Yeah, Grant Dixon, I think he gets some good drives around Leap to Fame, of course. I think Air Express can run a good race in the Rising Sun Constellation. Of course, he gets Path to Greatness. Fire Razor draws a good marble, and I'm really keen on his last 2, Fire and Passion, Cool and Classy. I think they both just win.
Okay, your best bet for the entire card.
Yeah, Cool and Classy or Fire and Passion, take your pick. Cool and Classy, she went into the Hayden, ran a really good race. Then last week at Redcliffe in the Oaks there, she did a stack of work and still held third. It was only Ruby Rules and Captain's Mistress that got over the top of her. She wins the last race. And Fire and Passion, we asked a little question earlier about will the Protostar winner come from the Wayne Wilson Paleface Adios, I think it might be this guy.
Okay, all right, a good push there. Ryan, your best bet for the card?
Sticking with the feature, the Rising Sun, the Janitor, not jumping off here. I think he can get the job done from any position in run.
Okay, your quaddie, races 5 through 8?
Yeah, my quaddie Chris, we're going to kick off London to a Brick, Oscar Bonavina, Gus into Bet and Win, Not As Promised, RC Phoenix and Zealous Spur. Standing out the Janitor in the Rising Sun, and we'll come home with, in the Derby, we'll come home with Fire Razor, Sweet on Lexi, He's a Treacherous for a bit of value, and Jungle Dragon.
Okay. My best bet, I really like Oscar Bonavina in that heat of the Trotters. That's the first heat for the Trotters. Race 5, number 9, my best bet. The quaddie, I'm going wide here tomorrow night. First leg 3, 9 and 12. The second leg 1, 5 and 7. The Rising Sun 1, 2, 3, 6, 9. And then we finish off with numbers 2, 5 and 6. So $135 for 100%, $67.50 for half. Darren, your quaddie tomorrow night.
Yeah, we're all on the same page with that opening leg, 3, 9, 12, 1 and 7, Bet and Win, and RC Phoenix, that second leg. Third leg, 1, 3, 4, 6, the Rising Sun. And the last leg bringing it home in race number 8 with numbers 1, 2 and 5. $72 for 100%, $36 for 50%, or $18 for 25%.
Okay, well that's how we're going to play tomorrow night. You're locked and loaded now as far as our best bets and quaddie thoughts are concerned. If you are gambling across the weekend, please do so responsibly. We look forward to the opening night of ID25 tomorrow night. Appreciate your help this morning, guys, and we'll catch up next week. Perfect. There it is. So that's weekend winners for this week. We'll see you trackside for night 1.